Clavicle fractures. So what is a clavicle fracture? So a clavicle fracture is a fracture of the collarbone, illustrated by this image right here. What bones are affected by this injury? So you have the clavicle, obviously, the scapula, which is your shoulder blade, and the sternum or your rib cage are all affected by this injury. Are there any muscles affected? Yes, there are. The deltoids, which are the muscles at the top of your shoulders, the pectoralis major and minor, which is in your chest, the trapezius, which is the muscles in the back of your neck, the subclavius, which is the muscle directly below your clavicle, the sternocleidomastoid, which is in the side of your neck, and the sternohyoid, which connects your sternum to your hyoid and is in the front of your throat, are all muscles that could be affected by this injury. And you can see all the muscles that I just mentioned here in this image in relation to the clavicle. So how are they affected? So some short-term effects of a clavicle injury. The injury itself may limit muscles' ability to receive nutrients and oxygen if there is a collapsed or blocked vasculature. There could be some bruising around the injury site or some stiffness of the shoulder. And some long-term effects, there could be muscle atrophy. So if there are complications and the muscles are not moved for a long period of time, you could experience some loss of shoulder or arm strength, which would happen after a period of immobility. You could also see a bony prominence, which may last in the area of the break, which is just a bump over the bone, as you can see in this image right here. So some ligaments that are affected, so the coroclavicular ligaments, which is made up of the conoid and the trapezoid ligaments, could be affected. So the conoid ligament regulates scapular movement anteriorly with respect to the clavicle, and the trapezoid ligament regulates scapular movement posteriorly with respect to the clavicle. So together, these two ligaments make up the CC ligament, which supports the acromyoclavicular joint, which connects the scapula to the clavicle. So in injury, the CC ligament could tear or just function poorly, which would destabilize the AC joint. So here is an image where you can see the CC ligament and the AC joints in relation to the clavicle in injury, and you can see how they are separated here. So some causes of a clavicle injury, trauma, so that could be caused by sports, which is a common cause in children. So for example, you're playing football and you get tackled while your arm is outstretched to catch the ball and you land on it. That could cause a clavicle injury. That's what happened to Aaron Rodgers in this image right here, as you can see. The more common cause in adults is a car accident. Clavicle injuries could also be caused in birth, so a newborn's clavicle could be broken in vaginal birth, either intentionally by the doctor or unintentionally just from the pressure of birth. Weak bones caused by osteoporosis or cancer, so osteoporosis is a loss of bone density and bone quality. Those could also put you at risk for a clavicle injury. So some complications of this injury, a complication would be multiple fractures on the clavicle, clavicular shortening due to bone loss, which you can see here in this image where the clavicle shortened by 6.5%. An open fracture where the bone breaks through the skin is also another complication. If the fracture causes vascular or nerve damage, or the bone fails to heal together properly, or if the fracture affects joint function, specifically of the AC joint, which we talked about earlier. So all of these are complications of a clavicle injury, and some of these may require surgery depending on the severity of your injury, but not always. So the healing and recovery time of a clavicle injury is approximately 4 to 8 weeks. So you will be required to wear a sling or a figure 8 splint to keep the clavicle and shoulder steady. So this here is a figure 8 splint for a clavicle injury, which would just keep your clavicle still. And the healing time would vary with surgery or the severity of the injury. So some rehab exercises that you may be required to do, though not always, are shoulder squeeze, which would help work your trapezius muscles, a wall angel to help your deltoids, chest stretches lying down would work your pectoralis muscles, and a shoulder flexion lying down would work all of the muscles of your rotator cuff that could be affected by a clavicle injury. So that's it for clavicle injuries. Here are my references. Thank you for watching.